Hello and welcome to a new edition of Kashable Conversations. We have the pleasure of speaking with Csan and Nancy Hicks, both from the corporate benefits team at Huntington Ingalls, specializing in benefit strategy and engagement. HII has been a Kashable client since March of 2020. Kim and Nancy, how are you doing today?
Great. It's nice to be invited to do this call with you guys today. Kashable has been a great client since we started with you guys in early 2020, so appreciate this time to kind of share what our experiences have been.
Fantastic. And Kim, what is your role? And maybe could you tell us a little bit about the Huntington Ingalls population?
Sure. So I am the Corporate Director of Benefits here at HII. HII is the parent company for three different sectors of our business: Newport News Shipbuilding, Ingall Shipbuilding, and then Technical Services Division. Obviously, per the titles, at Newport News and Ingalls both build ships, and our main customer is the Navy, and then our secondary is the Coast Guard. So a lot of defense contracts that we handle, and then our Technical Services Division is more in government services area. So it's kind of a branch out for our company, add some other items other than shipbuilding to our portfolio.
Nancy, can you introduce yourself as well?
Sure. I'm Nancy Hicks. I am one of the corporate benefits managers at HII, and I work very closely with our three local engagement teams within the three entities, Ingalls, NNS, and TSD of our organization. So we are very close to the employees, understanding their needs, and also understanding the success of Kashable within our populations.
Fantastic. And that leads in nicely to, how did you identify financial wellness as an area of focus?
I can start that off with, we had a strategy early on that basically was called Healthy Body, Healthy Mind, Healthy Wallet. So our initiative started out with the Healthy Body and Healthy Mind portion of our benefits. And as we kind of met those needs, we started diving into, okay, how do we tackle the healthy wallet? What are our problems currently in our population that we need to solve for? And so we had one of our consultants come in and do some analysis on our workforce and where are they at today in order to retire. We already knew we had a large problem with 401k loans. In prior years, you used to be able to take 2 loans out at a time. Believe me, people did it. And right before, I'd say maybe a year or two before, maybe about 2 years before we brought Kashable in, we reduced that to 1 loan at a time. And at the time we were doing this analysis, we had well over 1,000 people with 40 plus years of service. We have 3 to 4 generations sometimes in the yard of employees. So while we're trying to tackle, or other companies are trying to tackle, how do we handle the employee, we're thinking about that employee, their child, that child's child, and so on and so forth, because there's a good chance we're going to be employing them. So out of that, we're looking at this, and, you do have people that stay for that long because they want to, there's a certain goal in hitting that 40 years. It's called a master shipbuilder. It's a big deal in the yard. There's a special dinner. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance around it, and people strive for that goal. That's great if that's their goal and that's the reason they're doing it. But what if it isn't their goal, really? It's a secondary. What if their goal is just trying to get to the point where they can retire? They can't retire in the normal age of retirement because they're either draining their 401k for these loans and stuff, or they're just not financially tracking and they don't have the help needed to kind of put themselves on the right track. And so this analysis brought forth that about 46% of our population could retire at the age of 70 at the lifestyle level. 78% of those could retire at that age for the maintenance goal. So 70 is not your ideal age that you want people to look towards retiring. And then if you've only got a sector of your population that's able to do it and live at their current lifestyle, less than half, then that's a concern. And so we started tackling what all needs to go into this healthy wallet to help our employees get to saying, I can retire at, let's just go with a 65, just a standard 65 or a 67, and at lifestyle or better, not at maintenance. You don't want to just be living paycheck to paycheck after putting 40 plus years in at your job. You want to be able to enjoy that next stage of your life.
One thing that I think is important to note is people are going to their 401k and taking money from that, like using it like a checking account, because they don't have a lot of other great options in the open market. I mean, half of US adults are subprime. And I think there's even a larger percentage of the American worker that's subprime because retirees tend to boost that average. And so, right, if they're going to their 401k because they don't want to go to the payday lending shop. I think it's great that you recognize that you needed to not only provide an alternative to 401k loans, but to provide an alternative to payday loans and title loans and predatory things of that nature.
Well, exactly. And we know, things happen and refrigerators break down, cars break down, medical expenses build up. There's a lot of things out there that can put the pressure and the stress financially on our employees. And not only do you have that as an issue if they're pulling for their 401k and or they can't retire in time, so they're staying longer than they really need to be staying, and what value are we getting out of that? But the presenteeism while they're at work and they're worried about all these items really affects that work environment also and what we're getting from that employee. There's a lot that it touches and affects. How as an employer can we do better to give resources to our employees to help them along this path and to get them on the right path to begin with? Everything from like budgeting classes or resources for how they can work their 401k, stock options, or things that they can put their money into to help them along the way, whether it's online advice, whether it's professional advice, all the different levels of where we can meet an employee in their journey across their time with us. Because, like I said, we've got everything from walking the door at 18 and not married, no kids, and thinks that, they're invincible, to, your retiree at 77, 80 years old still in the yard doing a job.
That's right. I think I heard you talk about like just what employees are using Kashable for, because we know that life happens and there are emergencies that pop up. But, 35% of your population was proactively using Kashable to pay down other debt that they have, which I think is great because I think that's people's sort of first step in financial wellness is like paying down that expensive debt, getting back to even. And because we achieve such a lower interest rate than credit cards and certainly than the high interest options, we give people that opportunity. And not only giving them the opportunity to pay down debt, but these are loans that are repaid through payroll on time over time, which can be a great way to build better credit scores.
I love that you call out that, the 35%, but I think what's also interesting in our reporting, and it's great to see, is, we've got 2% that have used it for travel. So people are doing stuff to get away, enjoy themselves, relax, spend some time with their family. And then another 7% is, for a special occasion. This is stuff that comes up in life that isn't negative. It's the fun stuff. It's what you should be using your money for, to enjoy yourself while you're away from work. So it's great to see that there is a wide array of what it's being used for. But I agree that 35% paying down that debt is fantastic to see. I would say if you're not seeing your employees on a day-to-day basis and seeing how, the average day stress of finances and stuff affect them as a person and affect their job performance, whether you want to admit it or not, you've got blinders on. There's an opportunity for employers out there to roll something out like Kashable to help them, and it does, in sense, help you as an employer and help that employee be a better employee and such. I mean, it's a full circle return on an investment that costs the company nothing. This is literally just giving the opportunity to your employees to help them be more present in their workday and be more confident, and then set them up for success to retire. Yeah, you want them to stay. You want your retention to be good, But when it's time for them to retire, you want them to know they can retire at a normal age and leave the workforce. What you don't want is them staying on and really having a hard time in that job and having a hard time being present beyond the age that would be ideal for them to go. You know, if you're a retailer or a restaurant, that may not be of a concern, but if you're a company that has longevity in your employees, it should be your concern.